Yeah, and if they want to keep us guessing, they should probably look for just that ranged offlaner, so that way we still could have that Enigma Tusk lane, perhaps. Is probably the easy one to look for, even though, of course, Enigma versus Dawnbreaker, proven to not be the prettiest of picks, but something along that line would keep that Tusk flexible into Thunder Awaken's last few bans. Now let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, taking a page out of Dog Champ's book. Let's go. I love it. I absolutely love it. Again, another answer for that Jakiro. And now, no matter which lane the Jakiro goes to, Dual Breath's been countered. Done. Easy.
True.
You're going to really struggle to feel that Jakiro's effectiveness in the lanes now. And I was going to say with the Abaddon pickup, Infinity, again, taking maybe a peek at game one of the Dog Champ series because they did swap up their lanes and Excel did follow around that Naga Siren and made sure that it was almost impossible. So now saying no matter what side you go to, done. We've got our answer for you. Now for Thunder Awaken, what are we going to pick up that's going to ignore these heroes? Because I feel like Infinity, they got what they wanted. It's going to really hurt the Jakiro's early game. But now, has Infinity drafted too much against the Jakiro? That's the next question here. And can we see an immediate counter pick from Knight, who now just needs to find a hero that doesn't care about LC or the TA or the Abaddon? I don't know. It's kind of a weird bill because we haven't really seen an emphasis on these heroes at all in the tournament.
Yeah, you're getting into territory where you might just have, well, okay, I was going to say you might just have to guess. That's probably still not true. Teams probably have at least some knowledge either from pubs or from scrims, but you're looking at heroes that don't have the most proven of track records, is maybe the more polite way to phrase it. But this is what happens, right? We get into that playoff mode, and I know earlier today we were kind of talking about it, that's sometimes more the realm of the NA teams to take those drastic changes between group uh, and playoff, but well, there's never a bad time to maybe try and learn a little bit from some of the other regions, but see Thunder Awaken for now, though, do go in for the Monkey King. So you see an LC on the other side. It may not be a straight up bully lane, but you're going to have Monkey King against a melee offlaner. Never a bad idea.
Yeah, and a hero that was very staunchly banned out in that previous draft where Dogchamp picked up the Legion Commander. So Thunderwake can still find their counter pick, and they still hold Infinity to it. So, good pickup from them. Only other hero I could really think of was maybe a Terrorblade, but, wanting to instead flex the lanes a little bit. Because, well, Infinity drafted two heroes saying that we can counter you in lane. Thunderwake can say, yeah, we can claw it back just a little bit here. But Monkey King versus TA, very interesting matchup, very position-based matchup. Of course, you can get the TA without the refraction inside that Wukong's command. Well, hero dies pretty darn quick. It's also where maybe that Monkey King ring effect will change the game a little because that armor is going to come out just a little bit faster for that Monkey King, where typically TA can very easily blow up Monkey King. If you catch him without that ring, if you can catch him in a situation where he is waiting for it to come back up, maybe that 0.2 seconds on the cast time actually is going to matter, and maybe this is going to be a much harder game for Parker than he's ready for. But again, getting out of those random possibilities, we'll see. And we'll see if that ends up actually affecting too much. While ban-wise for Infinity, they ban out the Death Prophet. They say that, well, Thunder, I guess you're going to make it a Forge Hero, and it's going to be A on the Dawnbreaker, because your lineup is trying to make a little bit less sense. Because otherwise, Infinity should ban out a 4 here, because it should be a 4, and then a 3 Dawnbreaker, and then a presumably 5 Jakiro, but they're saying, no, that's not what you're doing.
And on the Zeus at the end of the draft. That's, let's say, interesting. Let's keep it polite, because got some other words I could use that probably aren't too great. But yeah, DP and Zeus. Infinity apparently have some sort of clue here as to maybe a Thunder Awaken strat that we are not privy to, ET, but on the other side, also some split bans. The Venomancer banned out first, then the Shadow Fiend, so neither side's 100% sure what the other's doing, and we do get that final pick. It is going to be the Leshrac here, so well, if you're Infinity, seems more likely that they end up running the Leshrac mid instead of any sort of mid Legion commander, but I guess we'll wait and see. But it seems probably the Leo style Leshrac.
Well, and again, that's the best part about this hero. You keep that flexibility. No matter what Thunder Awaken go for, despite having the final pick, you kind of did it. You kind of got everything you want. course, Lesh, still that broken hero that we all know him to be. And what name a better duo than Lesh TA at getting onto those objectives? Just one hero kills the buildings, one hero kills the Roche. They go for Sniper. Okay, interesting pick. Makes you maybe a little bit more hesitant as to what you slot in immediately for Infinity here, because now if it ends up just being that Sniper mid, which it is, you might just want to put the LC mid and then Leshrac goes no. Okay, they say Leo style, you're going to take it mid. An annoying lane for the Leshrac, but okay, something that they're going to decide to play into. And Illich takes the Dawnbreaker off lane. Michael ends up as your 4-position Ember, something we haven't seen in a little bit, but a classic for him. And Frank and Genic, they decide to just run that off-lane melee duo versus the Monkey King. A lane that is a little bit annoying, but certainly something they're going to deal with. But I think, honestly, great draft from both teams. A little bit weird, a little bit different. Certainly heroes out of the typical pick order, but something that I think both teams are very happy with.
And Michael gets a chance to maybe to prove himself a little bit, because this position 4 Ember was more the calling card of Matthew than Michael, although I will say they both ran it, but Matthew was maybe a little more successful with it. Played a little bit more often, but we know what it can do, at least in theory, right? You've got a fair bit of damage and lockdown coming from your 4, but we'll have to see. And more importantly than what Michael can do here, can Thunder Awaken keep some of these heroes alive, right? That's always the threat when the Sniper comes into play. If anybody jumps onto that backline, you just disappear.
Yeah, precisely. It's where it is a very, very nice Sniper game. It's where, when it comes to defending your objectives, you're one of the best heroes in the game. You got an extremely advantageous matchup versus the TA and the Lesh, but it is the matter of whether or not a Blink Dagger is enough. And especially once Alone looks at his own Blink Dagger, you don't really have that auto jump hero that will just always find the backline. And, well, Thunder Awaken certainly have something to look forward to in this game, and we'll have to see what Illich is actually able to do on this offlane Dawnbreaker, because, well, if Legion Commander Tusk wasn't very ideal, well, Dawnbreaker Ember feels even weirder. It's where the offlane duos certainly are maybe not your S-tier lanes, as I think the carries and the 5s are certainly way more at home with what they're playing, but we'll have to see. I think, if anything, Parker's pretty happy with what he has to play against. Still needs to be careful, mind you, and especially something you could say for the Ember Dawnbreaker matchup. They have a lot of dot. They have a lot of ways to actually get through the refraction this time around. It's just that no matter what you try to do, there is always that Abaddon shield, which will probably get Parker out of most of those sticky situations. But again, they're not the focus of this game. The focus is whether or not Sniper can get big enough to defend his towers, or is the TA Lesh duo going to be that duo core that just pushes down every single objective before you're ready.
Got a little bit of words being exchanged back and forth as we start here, and it is worth reminding folks what is potentially at stake here as we get Game 1 underway. As we mentioned in the draft, if either one of these teams takes this series 2-0, they will claim the #1 seed moving into Phase 3. Now, it's also worth noting, if these two teams split the series and go 1-1, then the #1 seed is actually going to be 5-Rat, who will be watching these matches and just hoping that everybody plays fair and has fun and splits things equally and evenly. But we'll have to wait and see, right? We're talking about a 2-0. We're just now barely getting into game #1, but quite a lot at stake in this very last series.
Yeah, and as I'm sure Dota players will tell you, very rarely does something go the way you want it, especially when it comes to brackets and things out of your control. I've certainly seen some pretty hefty griefs, especially you remember back at TSM. Oh, poor TSM. Oh, the tiebreakers. Oh, the tiebreakers.
Well, this time TSM doesn't have to bother with any tiebreakers. They get directly to Phase 3, and well, we'll see what's going on with their support duo, I guess, once Phase 3 gets underway, because that is yet to be announced publicly, but that is for a couple days from now. For now, this landing stage gets underway. We'll take a look bot first, but this one's going to be pretty quick to summarize. It is a melee core against a Monkey King, so Frank kind of has to stay back a little bit. Once he's got points up in the overwhelming odds, he might be able to grab a couple extra last hits, but for now, he's got to play it back a bit.
See you later,
Yeah,
nerds.
and at the same time, perfect creep pull comes from Genic. Of course, both creep waves will now meet behind the tower, and well, we'll see who that actually ends up helping more. As okay, I got a cheeky kill on Excel's courier, but like I said, perfect creep pull, no creep camp spawn. Monkey King's going to try and deny and maintain as much as he can. Same story with Genic.
Frank's coming over, just tried to disrupt this at all, maybe find a last hit even, but does have to be kind of careful. He can hold the press the attack just in case there's a dual breath play onto him, but you are still going to eat a little bit of damage, and Frank decides it's probably not worth forcing himself in there, but it just means Frank, or excuse me, not Frank, Knight gets a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, but this is kind of exactly what you wanted. Frank might be eating damage and trading with the Jakiro, but Genic's now going to deny. It was a half wave before that then ended up dying to the Monkey King's tower, but then gets 2 denies in another wave, so just uses the creep wave a little bit more efficiently. And now it's going to be 3 waves just directly pushing into the Legion Commander. I think Frank's played this beautifully. And sure, the Monkey King eventually is going to push in, but it just feels like now Infinity get to just sit back, let the XP come rolling.
Just gonna sort of keep it cool, at least for now. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Alone and Leo style starting to trade a little bit of damage. They've gotten their first few levels, so got the Lightning Storm spam, you've got the Shrapnel on the other side, and it still feels like someone's gonna have to step pretty far out of line for there to be kill potential, but they are exchanging some damage. Genic, okay, rotates in, gets the D ward, kind of gives up his position by doing so, but he's able to find a little bit for himself. And now, well, we'll see what Genic actually does with his abilities. He hasn't skilled up anything. He's sitting at level 2, so wanted to see if there's actually an opportunity to go into Alone here, and they will make their move. The Snowball comes in first. Shards will be deployed into the Splitter stun. But with Excel TPing in, they don't want to be here anymore. Genic, though, made that decision a little bit too late. DOT is on him. Is it enough to kill him, though? No, it is not. 4 HP.
Well, this'll work.
The Tusk barely gets out alive.
Yeah, just a great reaction from Excel, and of course, Tusk
Parker
spends all the spells, and yeah, a lot of damage traded out. Just the slight level discrepancy there, and now he has to go for the trade on the Michael, and it won't work. And now Prada, well, trying to save his teammate. No spells left for himself. Great double kill.
First blood goes, I believe, Michael's way, which, yeah, not the best hero to grab it, but hey, whatever. He's a support Ember. He's going to have a little bit more progress towards some sort of item, and it's the perfect example. Whether you're a core or a support, ET, level 1 Searing Chain Sleight of Fist still hits for the same amount of damage.
Just great level timing. Gives even some more XP over to the Dawnbreaker, and Illich is really the true winner, as Parker even misses out on full creep wave. And of course, TA will always have time to recover in the jungle, but definitely not that lane dominating start that I think Parker was looking for. But again, that comes back to the lane being so adept at getting through that refraction. It's just Prada not able to help his teammate out too much.
And,
This was over before it
well,
started.
there's your downside to the Abba pickup. He's a very strong defensive hero, but maybe not this early to the game. Can't really rely upon him too heavily, but if you're Infinity, a stumble out of the gates, but certainly still something that can be recovered from. And see Genic still trying to hang out in this section of the map. He spent a lot of time here, and well, part of that's because the Legion Commander doesn't really need a whole crazy amount of babysitting based on the way that he's playing, but this isn't accomplishing a crazy amount right now either, which is kind of where things get rough. Although I say that, Excel is going to finally get spotted out. Frank comes over, so they've got the 2v1. Snowball's going to come in, but Alone, he wants to get involved. He's starting to push Genic back, and Genic realizes, I don't have the damage to do this. I don't have the life to survive, and it's a bad day to be a Tusk.
Yeah, but hey, bought time for Frank to steal 2 creep waves. Now Frank just needs to make sure he doesn't lose aggro here, but is also just trying to not eat any damage from the Jakiro. And the shenanigans, while it has resulted in 32 and 14 as the CS line for the Monkey King, it has been getting Frank quite a lot of XP. He hasn't been able to last it too much, but hey, it's better than nothing, and this is where he's going to find a lot of that good farm.
You can hit that level 6 if you could start making moves with the duel. a slow laning stage can be quite easily bounced back from. But what is going on here? Michael runs into the river, not really able to grab the rune. He does force Genic to take it, I suppose, which is a bit of a benefit. And he does walk away, obviously still with HP. So overall, that is not a bad play from the Emperor.
No, gets to deny it, gets to survive that situation as well, just having the boots already, just using his gold efficiently. And mana spent, any mana wasted this game is going to be a success for Thunder Awaken. It's just more time, more space bought for that sniper to just slowly and easily kind of defend his middle tower, as Leo style will eventually probably give up on trying to make those plays and instead rely on his jungle a little bit. But that's where you do have too many cooks here. Parker also wants to farm and then build himself up, so meaning that the Leshrac can't really afford to retreat. It's where there's really only one way forward for Leo style. Eventually, he's going to have to go bottom towards that monkey's lane, but I can only imagine he's only going to put himself at risk there once he feels like he can get some support from his Legion.
Yeah, the timing's... it's going to be tight on the Infinity side, but there is a world in which it all kind of works out for them. They've just got to hit the right windows, and right now, they're looking to hit some opposing heroes. Genic and Leo style have smoked up. They're pushing their way top. Prada, acting as the bait, does have to basically die for this, but... and they get a return kill. Illich is completely trapped up here, and yeah, Leo style is able to take him down. They clean that up. Michael did get away, but 4-4 support trade. Infinity are going to be happy with it as they get their first kill on the board.
Yeah, and now they just have to be very mindful because Infinity's next play is going to be met with that Solar Guardian. We've seen too many teams just lose track of that level 6 of the Dawnbreaker and then go down because of it. They do lose out on the stack, though. Alone gets the push into the jungle. Aegis scouts it out. Let's see what Rune is. Okay, Regen Rune props up there. The only sad thing about that top rotation, even though it's great they get Illich, is that Frank TP's there without having level 6, so he doesn't get really any benefit there. Even though, back to stealing, on the other side, Leo style gets to take this nice little Archcamp stack.
Yep, so a stack stolen from each side. Michael, on his way over, he's going to see Genic, gets the root. Does Illich want this fight, though? Alone sure as hell does. Assassinate. Comes through, Illich finishes the job, and it's not quite as much as maybe they would have gotten if they took that full stack, but it's some of it back.
And that's where the hammer damage, it's fearsome. It's also where bottom lane, eating a lot of damage, just a small tick from that Jakiro, and Frank still not really being in a position to defend a lot of his buildings. It's where Thunder Awaken don't really have a great way to get to that next step. It's where, unfortunately, in their lineup, just having the sniper, they don't have somebody to go in until that Ember hits level 6, which is now more or less a tome timing because he's a support. But with bottom, I don't know if they save Excel, though. He's not worth it. If it was on the monkey, then maybe the Dawnbreaker would have went, but just dies way too quickly.
That's Frank's first duo win, so a bit of momentum. 10 damage is not exactly going to be game-changing, but just get him into the habit, find some kills, find some dual wins, right? And just try to get him more active as this game goes on. And in all honesty, I think the most important aspect of that kill is that it takes all the pressure away from the towers. The tier 1s, both bot and mid, were getting hit up. Now they're both safe. Parker, though, he's not all that safe. That Solar Guardian from Illich is not the best on the timing, but they're still trying to force this fight. But at this point, the operative word ET is force. They just felt too committed. They had to go for it. They're not going to get it, and now Michael should be picked off as well.
Yeah, just a little bit too greedy. He's going to make him work for it, but yeah, you're walking into TA traps, you're getting surrounded. Again, without your level 6, your Ember Spirit cannot really lead in, and that's a situation where they really would have liked that initiation instead of what Illich tried, which was just him walking up and hoping level 2 chains would have been enough time for him to channel out his ulti. But kind of a swing and a miss, and now that there isn't Solar Guardian, the rest of the map has to be a little bit more careful, because those dives that Infinity can put together were most likely, or are more likely to just straight up work now. Even though we are seeing more of that farming game play out, Leo style getting a little bit more of that jungle farm time just because he's got a Bloodstone to look for. It's where Parker doesn't have any stacks to rely on in his own jungle, which is kind of sad for him, and he'll see that, yeah, oh, my Lesh just farmed this, and There is no stack for me to play for right now, but he'll retreat to the other side of the jungle and then hopefully farm his way back.
Will this
You know, his
work?
timings right now looking pretty great. I don't know how Parker always manages to do this, but maybe it's just because he doesn't end up going for all of those small items, but Deso is only another Mithril Hammer away.
Yeah, I mean, Parker has his own style of efficiency, right? Just the one Wraith Man, doesn't get on any intermediate items, as you mentioned. It does mean he's less prone to taking any of the risks that could potentially get you more gold, but that's the gambler's mentality, right? Parker doesn't really play it that way.
No, definitely not. There hasn't been any pressure on the sniper, though, which is maybe a little bit worrisome, and we also haven't seen much pressure put onto those tier 1s just yet, but right now, in the lane where those tier 1s are still alive, seeing some scrappy, just trying to get XP, barely surviving, Genning's extremely low. Frank is too scared to even show his face in the monkey's lane. It's where there's no real obvious next objective. Wheelstyle would like to bust down the monkey's tower, but into Solar Guardian, into what is a fully Echo Sabered Monkey King who's almost level 10, there's just no good way for him to get onto any buildings right now. And same goes for Thunder Awaken. There's no reason for them to stretch themselves out so thin, especially when they're farming the map just one lane ahead of Infinity right now.
Meanwhile, checking in on Alone's build, this is 100% Stat King based. Power Treads, 4 Wraith Bands, and working his way towards a Dragon Lance. So, Alone knows what he's about. He's not going to rush damage, he's not going to rush durability. He says, just give me Agi. That's it. Just let me hit things.
And now look bottom. Leo Style, he's here to kill the tower, but that's where they're already set up here. And they don't know about him, and now needs some help.
Oh my god. There's going to be the Wukong's command, the Solar Guardian. They take Leo Style down. Prada falls immediately after, and oh, that's the full combo. That's everything that they've got, and it works to perfection.
Yeah, and now enough time for them to actually bust down this bottom tier 1. See if the cliff comes through. Nope. Would have refreshed, but doesn't really matter too much in the larger scale. But at the same time, that's what Leo Style should have been more concerned about, and just wasn't able to get really the rest of his team on board with that push. As mid, Gennec, shards off the mark, doesn't find the return kill, and the map is starting to feel a little bit more awkward for Infinity to play.
Especially if they lose this tower too. Thunder Awaken, just bring everybody over. Let's try and take another tier 1. Assassinate, targeting up Gennec. He's going to get stunned. He is going to get taken down. The tower will fall, and Parker... I don't think this is worth it. Whatever he's attempting here, could just rotate back into his jungle and continue to farm, because it doesn't seem like there's going to be much of a fight coming out.
Oh, now look, mid, Michael.
Okay.
Took the DD, but shouldn't win the duel, and now Remnant away, and Frank,
Oh boy, Frank gets taken down. At least he doesn't lose the duel, right? You don't win it, but you don't lose it either. You don't give any damage over. But that's supposed to be a pretty easy one. Michael just would not go down, and even jumped back in at the end to make sure that they sort of secured that kill onto the LC.
no, definitely unfortunate. Now Illich,
He doesn't really have any way out
like
of
he's,
this.
yeah, very dead. And at the same time, Leo Style goes down too.
Style goes down, and Gennec, well, I said before, you know, it's not a good day to be a Tusk. That continues. Double kill for the Monkey King, and we're just not seeing Gennec having too many opportunities to do anything. It's not that he's trying and failing, it's that the opportunities are just not really materializing.
Yeah, it's where the only lane for them to really find kills or go for kills is still the Dawnbreaker's lane, but, you know, Parker got his kill by himself. He doesn't need anybody else. He's got a straight-up Deso. He's ready to almost look for his first Aegis attempt. He's still extremely farmed on the TA, but it's where Thunder Awaken are simply too good at defending their buildings, and also you're not finding the connection between the Abaddon and the Leshrac. Very rarely have we seen Prada just walk up straight up to an objective with Leo Style, mainly because he's scared of showing too many heroes and then Thunder Awaken just bringing 5 as they have so far. It's where, unfortunately, Infinity's lineup is just a little bit slow, and they're unable to make those out rotation plays that they should look to make. And in the meantime, Well, Thunder Awaken have just got this pretty nice early lead. The only one on Infinity who's up there net worth wise is the Templar Assassin. And sure, Parker's extremely farmed. He's looking for his BKB already, which is a stellar timing, but they want to find another play. Thunder Awaken, though, coming into TA Town, they are going to scout out Frank really early on into this fight, and hopefully he doesn't go down, but
It's not
a
looking
lot of
great.
damage.
Big pull, okay. We'll allow him to make it out. At the same time, Parker did reveal himself. Got the double meld onto Illich, took out like 2/3 of his health, but can't go for any more than that, and he knows it. Without the BKB, it's just too risky. And wait a minute. That is a bit of a switch up. Parker now going for the Aghanim Scepter play for the projection instead of the BKB, which, well, I can sort of see the reasoning, right? ET, you've got more global presence at the cost of maybe your defensive capabilities, but if you want to take a fight, he can TP himself wherever he wants. If you don't want to take a fight, he can just dodge and farm, and now they can make the jump in onto Knight in the middle lane. Do they have the damage to kill him off? Not quite yet. Solar Guardian's coming in. And now they're in trouble. Parker getting double stunned up. Defensive snowball, though,
Really
pulls him
good.
away. Okay. They're going to walk out of this, at least for now. Genic is not looking like he wants to give up on this, though, and that may be a bit of a mistake. I don't really know if he's going to be able to live for very long. Prada tries to get in with the Aphotic Shield, but it's still not enough.
Yeah. Unfortunate positioning from Genic. Great snowball before, but then tries a little bit too hard for the play on the ward. And yeah, that Parker Ags, it's simply a nice choice versus the sniper, saying that Thunder Awaken don't have too many ways to kill me, or if they have already got me, then I might just be dead. It's also just knowing that he's going to have the Dispel to play with, saying that they might be slightly lower lockdown, because yeah, he just has an Ags now. Disassembles his Dragonlance even for it. So just more farm, more time to play with, play around with, as it looks like Infinity are just going to take a much slower style to this game, but killing Michael off in the top lane, just randomly near the tier 2, a little bit too far forward for that Ember.
And get another duel win into Frank's hands. Slowly starting to build up some damage and try and push the timings back a little bit. Buy more time, get some more farm. Not a bad plan overall, as, well, Alone has spotted out some heroes, and yeah, Leo Style needs some help. Prada waiting on the shield, throws it out now. That shield did not last long at all, so Leo Style is dead. Now Prada is going to have his ult popped. He's not even going to try for the TP at this point. Probably smart on his part, because there's no way that he finishes that TP, and Thunder Awaken managed to find themselves a couple of kills.
Yeah, just a nice set. Nothing that's going to lead them into the pit, though, which is one of the biggest issues for Thunder Awaken. It's where maybe if we see a Deso build coming in from Alone or from Knight, we could see them actually swing for that objective, because that's really all they want. If they can take the Aegis or the thought of an Aegis out of Parker's hands, then suddenly Parker has a little bit less to play for, and he does have to concede and just say, okay, I am the farming TA. I've got traps. I can farm the entire bottom lane, the entire Radiant jungle, and my side of the map all at the same time, which will result in a very farmed TA, but the rest of the lineup is just kind of floundering for plays. And it's why, as we've talked about already, Genic is struggling. There's just no one for him to play with right now, because the other two cores are farming, and well, farming's great, but farming isn't helping him out in the slightest. The only other person he could play with is Frank, but Frank's looking for his own solo plays, and he'll try bottom, and with the TA coming in, okay, that's a great pick.
Able to make that one happen, and that is the thing. This is what they need, right? You picked a Tusk, you picked a Legion Commander, you want to try and take fights, you have TA and Leshrac, so you want to try and get objectives, but being behind by this many kills is kind of setting them back a little bit, and now the timing's awkward, because the heroes who want kills can't find too many of them, and the heroes who want to push objectives can't push objectives because you're not finding any kills to actually make a push. But through all of this, ET, I mean, net worth-wise, they've clawed it back, right? They were trailing by, 1.5, 2K, not a massive deficit, but they're back on top right now. A lot of that is concentrated in the TA, as you were pointing out, but at least it's something, right? At least you're not just getting massively out-farmed everywhere, and they can look ahead to, well, what eventually does have to be some sort of fight. You can't avoid it forever, but Infinity want to be as strong as possible before they commit.
Yeah, and the smoke, it is geared towards looking for the TA in her jungle, especially once these ancients spawn. This is when Parker would look to make that trap back, but also looking for the heroes in front of him. Somebody has to be standing in front of the TA, looking for smokes, and they will see Leostar on the low ground, and what a blink.
Michael,
Connection.
still got
Yeah,
the
he's
root.
gonna get it, but
Yeah, he pops the Bloodstone, though. He's not going down without a fight here on the Leshrac, and it is a hell of an engagement in terms of his ability to survive it, but eventually they do take him down. But
yeah, kicking and
BT,
screaming.
the most important thing to remember, think of how that would have gone if Leo Style had 50 extra health.
I know.
Thank God for the Bloodstone nerf.
And really the only reason why he died, but alone.
Yeah,
Look
he's
at
getting
that.
dueled up.
Oh no, up the river. He's got the kick, but
Oh.
with the punch, oh.
Four staffs get him away. Now he turns, drops down the shrapnels. They take out Frank and Genick and Parker. It is time to go. Root gonna be there. Another four staff coming into play though, so he is able to get himself out. And well, that goes terribly. All right, they thought they had a quick and easy duel win and kill. Instead, they get neither. Parker does just jump to a trap and kill Excel, but the Jakiro's okay with that because now they know where Parker is. They're gonna go into the pit.
And they feel comfortable enough. They saved both their BKBs from before, and largely there is a DD on the monkey. Without this DD, I still feel like the Roche would probably just be too long and annoying, but still, it's amazing that Alone survived that situation in the first place. I think just not expecting the sniper to be that far forward, and then not having any follow-up because Leo Style was still taken down, and now Alone has an Aegis. And sure, Parker's still farming. That's what we're going to keep on saying, because that's the Parker way. Parker will always be farming. You do wonder if Thunder Awaken are just slowly but surely getting this game out of their control. And very importantly, they pick up this gem on Illich, who will now run up and down the lanes, look to deward those TA traps, and then close in where Parker's actually able to farm. And then, again, while Parker is farming, and that's great, you are taking that away from every other hero on Infinity. It's really just Parker farming, and then Leo Style gets whatever he doesn't want to farm. It's not the most fun for every other member.
So this is where things get a little bit weird, because that gem did just get passed off to Excel, which he's going to be in the area of the vision maybe a little bit more often, but he's not exactly a durable hero. Speaking of not durable heroes, Genick, it's just not a fun time for him. 0-8 now. That's going to lead into this tower push, so Thunder Awaken are trying to clear out vision. They're trying to clear out TA traps. They're taking objectives, but they just sent a lone down bot. He is going to be able to defend the tier 2 for the time being, but he TP'd in all by himself. Infinity obviously didn't know that, and they do actually back off in a situation where realistically they didn't need to, but now they're going to try to make a play, and here comes the consequences of putting that gem on the Jakiro instead of Illich. It is now in the other team's hands.
Yeah, that's a free pick that is honestly extremely unfortunate. And now you could probably give the gem over to Prada. Frank's holding it for now, but even
Parker's
if putting in the
getting
base is
jumped
good.
on.
But yeah, and they hold him.
Not long enough. That's a very short channel on that projection. 1.5 seconds. Parker gets away, got the tower, and well, he doesn't have a whole lot of HP still, so he might want to be careful mid, because there are heroes making their way over. And the Ice Path hit him. The Macropyre comes in onto it. He's able to pop that Refraction, but he's still in some trouble. Has to try and get away. His teammates are actually coming in to try and help out. Genick blinks in, goes for the Walrus Punch. Leo Style now into the middle of the engagement as well. Looking for as much damage as they can, but they're not hitting a specific target. They're a little bit split up. Now they're trying to focus back in on Alone, but Parker has lost his backup. His teammates are in the river, so he is really just getting absolutely beaten down. Does he survive this? No, he does not. He got the kill onto Illich before he dies, but ET, that felt so
See you later, nerds.
just uncoordinated from Infinity.
Yeah, just ended up really sticking themselves in the worst possible situation, and the only way that Parker actually could have died, and even though Leo Style was doing a great job making a lot of space there, as soon as the sniper shows up, both of the cores need to go. And now, well, Prada's getting chased down. but is able to walk away with his ultimate. But that's simply the game that we're in. Anytime that sniper is showing up to a team fight, you are either on top of him or you are disengaging, because otherwise you get caught, you get slowed down. If you don't have BKB or a blink dagger, there's just no good answer to the sniper in this game. It's why they went for it last pick, because they know that you have to jump me or you lose. Those are the stakes. And in that situation, it doesn't end up costing anybody any buildings. It's Parker's first death. It's really just gold in the Pocket of Thunder Awaken, but those stakes will continuously rise in this game.
See situations developing on both sides of the map. Knight was sort of eyeballing Genic, not going to commit for it, just wants the last hit instead. Meanwhile, Excel is going to hit up Prada here. Alone's coming over as well, and there is no borrowed time for a few more seconds, so Prada gets an easy one, but Frank's now going to push in. He drops the duel, but there's the Solar Guardian. I don't know if this was a great idea. Excel does end up dying, but for this assassinate, it's going to take Frank down, and not really sure that was worthwhile. I don't think he got the duel win there either, so if that had happened, maybe we're looking at a slightly different situation. But without it, it just looks kind of rough.
Yeah, just getting baited a little bit is the TLDR there. Just not really valuing what that Solar Guardian could have done for you, but with top
Hasted Tree
coming
moving.
in.
Mischief doing some funny stuff there as Leo Style gets jumped in on, and oh, Knight. This is a build that we aren't quite used to seeing. Of course, we don't see Monkey King Core all that often anyway, but he's got the BKB. He went for the Scotty as the pickup. Now he's looking towards the Basher, so really, maybe there are some questions in terms of durability, but his job is to get on someone and make sure they do not move.
No, and he's a scary, scary monkey. And Parker, well, he's got a BKB. He's back here, and Aegis just got reclaimed.
Oh, alone. Can he somehow... Nope, he can't. He's going to get taken down. The Knight is starting to fight, though. There's going to be the Wukongs. It will hit up onto 3. Does he have the Boundless? Not for 13 more seconds, but they might not need it. Michael comes in, getting a little bit of extra damage in there. Frank will fall first. Prada now in some trouble as well. His ult really doesn't do him any favors there. Once it ends, he still dies, but all of that bought time for Parker to get away to safety. Gold-wise, they come out ahead. Experience-wise, they come out ahead for Infinity, but Leosal has a very aggressive play. They're going to try to get onto Knight. Parker's rejoining, looking for the damage, but their front line just collapsed completely because it was just getting.
Enjoy this.
Yeah, just maybe assuming that Knight had already used that BKB in the prior engagement. There's no real reason for them to go that crazy, but yeah, they lose their lives. They continue to push into Thunder Awaken, and Thunder Awaken say, hey, we've got more than just a sniper as our core. We've got Knight, who is extremely farmed, and the most shocking thing about his build isn't even the items. It's just that there's no Maelstrom, there's no Battle Fury. He hasn't gone for a farm accelerating item, and he's still this farmed. Maybe EU carry is just built different, because this is incredible stuff. He is just one of the most farmed heroes in the game, despite not having to rely on any of those crutches. Maybe this is just the new wave, because he, again, is that carry that is just ready to and prepared to carry this game if Alone does end up dying or dropping the ball like that. And even Alone says that. Reflected in his item build, he's got an AC queued up. Says that maybe I can rely on my monkey to do a little bit of that legwork.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. Just swapped over for a second. He's got the second highest last hit count, so he is farming. This is not a, oh, he's getting all the money from a 7-0 and 10 stat line. That's just been supplementing the second highest last hit count in the game. So a crazy level of efficiency out from Knight, and a situation where the momentum is beginning to kind of drift back towards even. Both sides now have built up sizable net worth leads, I'd say, for the time frame that we were in, right? We were sort of kicking around that 15 to 25 minute mark, so these squads were ahead by a couple thousand, but now I don't really know if we're going to see that back and forth anymore. Now feels like whichever team can harness the momentum has the chance to hold it for a good long while.
Yeah, and we are in that waiting phase where Roche is going to become the new objective that everybody's going to run and look at. And of course, while we're, hemming and hawing over Knight's net worth, Parker is still the top, and he is still farming. He's got 420 last hits. Man's never really stopped, as well as Leo Style finishing up a BKB, so that Leshrac is getting battle ready. It's where all of the cores, it's where the odds have escalated. Everybody needs a BKB now. Everybody needs some form of escape or initiation, Otherwise, you are just a dead core. And bottom, Illich saw Parker actually go to this trap and then immediate meld. Parker's not as sneaky as he thinks he is, and yeah, Parker's gone. He's out, but the rest of the lineup, jumping,
Oh,
Frank.
Frank didn't get it. Now he's in trouble. He's going to get stunned up. Here comes the Solar Guardian. That's Frank dead. Excel has to give his life in exchange, but they're on to Leo style. They got him with the root. They're going to be able to lock him down. No, they're not. He pops a BKB. He pops a Bloodstone. He will run for his life. And it looks like he's going to make it out, only because they really just kind of shift their target. They want Genic instead. A far easier kill. They do manage to find it. In the meantime, Alone stayed behind and found himself a kill onto Prada. So it's taking care of a little bit of extra business on the back end of the fight, but it's a fight that Thunder Awaken very clearly win.
Yeah, and with that, maybe the two other side lanes are getting pushed in. Maybe you haven't dealt with that just yet, but you set up some more control. Now your midway's getting cut. Okay, that's where you draw the line. That's where maybe some hero tries to TP back and look for the TA. As actually, Michael might just walk onto him.
Sentry. They're able to get the vision down. They're hitting him up. BKB comes out, though. Parker's just going to channel his way out of here. Yeah, Searing Chains weren't back up, so... Okay. Parker cuts the wave, gets himself out. All in all, not a bad move there to prevent. Well, honestly, I'm not sure what was prevented, because the Tier 2 tower was already taken. I don't think they were going to go for the Tier 3 anyway, but whatever. If you're Parker, you keep any sort of semblance of a threat to your high ground away, and they go back to farming.
Yeah, Parker did just hit 25, so has the 7 refraction instances. So, not the melt hit bash, but also it's hard to not go those refraction instances. Melt hit bash would be a kill, but they found a jump onto A, and they take him down yet again. Feels like that's their easy pickoff if they can ever find it, and they can find it pretty reliably, especially with this nice ward behind the tier 2 mid. Gets an idea of where the Jakiro is, and now they're looking to stage a 5v4. They want to try and keep the snowball going as Illich. Well, the duel is there, brother.
Yep. Yeah, Frank just waited it out for as long as he could before pulling the trigger. Genic, okay. He's going to get caught out here as well, but they're okay with this trade-off. And now with the Wukong's command being used, this is looking pretty good from the Infinity standpoint. And Roche is back up in 5 seconds, so there won't be a Wukong's command. You won't immediately have Dawnbreaker unless you're willing to buy back. You do now know that Roche's respawned because they left a trap in the pit. Parker could just go for the projection to get himself over there and immediately start working on Roshan, but okay, there we go. I was going to say we're not seeing it just yet, but we will see the move now.
Yeah, it's Parker, double meld. This is going to go real quick, and nobody's going to bat an eye. They need to head over right now, but Parker, he gets bashed. Is that going to be enough for the interrupt?
Michael?
Nope.
He's not actually going. Well, thought for a moment that maybe he suspected something, but they just let it go for free, and yeah, I mean, Parker should not have really been able to get away with that, but there's the strength of the sonic projection. He just gets in, and there really is no indication, unless maybe you're close enough to hear the noise of the trap, because, I don't know, it still does set the trap off, but nobody was close enough at the time, so just Roche for free.
Yeah, really unfortunate situation, because that's an objective that Thunder Awaken would have fought for, and one that they thought they had a handle on, but they didn't even check the pit for good 7-8 minutes, where Parker just snuck in a trap, and that's why it's so immediate. It's as soon as it respawns, suddenly that happens, and of course, maybe some unluck with not having the Monkey King, completely ready. There's maybe 20 seconds out of his Wukong's command, then Parker, he showed up here. Gem on Michael.
They're going to jump right in onto him. Solar Guardian being dialed in here. They do manage to get the stun. They'll burn through the Aegis. Where is the help? Nowhere. Yeah. Nobody is coming, and Parker...
Okay,
that's just a little bit sad the way that plays out for him.
And we just really aren't going to get a team fight, are we? Infinity have just said that, nah, never. We are just going to keep on looking for pickoffs. We're going to keep on looking to be the annoying squad instead, and maybe that's their way to win. But look, mid, time to go. The slight doesn't hit, though, so everybody's going to retreat. But all retreating to Thunder Awaken's Observer here. They would have to re-smoke, but the gem, kill the obs, walk away. Both teams are not allowed to have vision this game.
In the meantime, I'm looking at Prada here. For a second, I was wondering how the hell did he get enough farm to get the Aghanim Scepter? The answer is because that's all he's got. There's no other utility here whatsoever. He just went straight for the Ags, and, well, under the right circumstances, ET, it is a pretty powerful Ags, right? You just kind of massively launch out healing, but that means the Abba has to be in the middle of that engagement in a scenario where a lot of the time Thunder Awaken have been able to just ignore him and leave him to come back to later. So I don't really know if he's going to be able to demand the aggro that you kind of need to make that scepter work.
Yeah, and 31 to 15, man. It's funny just because there hasn't really been too many easy team fights. Knight finished off a nullifier though. That's a huge pickup, one that will certainly, and almost definitely kill off the flashes. Genic, well, tried. Could not blink out of his own Yule Scepter though, because the shrapnel's there. And even though, and before of course, killing Parker is great in that top lane, at least Infinity got some damage on that bottom tier 3, because at the end of the day, I still don't know how Infinity definitively get to an objective unless the sniper is dead, because Alone just hasn't touched or been touched by a hero in what feels like 15 minutes at this point. There just hasn't been a good go onto him except for that one attempt mid, which feels like eons ago, and now another smoke up. Alone leading the charge here, even maybe baiting a little bit, is gonna walk underneath the gem, and hey Alone.
Well, this is awkward. Solar Guardian, though, coming in. Alone, not dead yet. Solar Guardian, still taking some time, but they will hit. Stun up onto 2. Wukong's command comes in as well. Frank is in trouble, but before Frank goes down, Alone falls first. But now they see their target. They know Parker's here. They're going to just focus everything they've got on him. But Parker's able to channel. He gets himself out with the projection. 1.5 seconds, ET, is just so ridiculous. He gets away. Prada does have to die, but you trade him for Sniper, and well, maybe now they have an opportunity to do anything else. Alone had been kind of the stopgap, but he's going to be down for a bit.
Yeah, and well, they're trying to chase down Leo style here. I don't know if it's actually going to work from Knight, but yeah, Alone, just little did he know that he was walking in front of 3 heroes there, and then the smoke just, unfortunately, was crafty, but just not there to back him up. Just dies way too quickly. Even then, it was kind of a misplaced ring. If maybe it was actually on top of the TA, you could see him going down, but just not enough disable is kind of the name of the game here. It's why Parker has gotten away so many times with the Aghanim Scepter TP. Just not that much lockdown. It's where you almost want some hero to get a hex somewhere. Maybe it's Michael who just randomly decides to get it so you have that easy stun, but until then, nobody can put a finger on him. He just gets to survive in a lot of situations where he probably should be dead. And funnily enough, even though they kill Alone, Knight's still farming. Knight's still having a great game. He's going to be 25 soon on that Monkey King. And then, of course, one of the best 25s in the game, the Wukong's ring, just gets doubled over. And then those team fights get nearly impossible. Still haven't seen Infinity ever go near the high ground or an objective in this game. Just feels like they know themselves that pushing is not the ideal for them, but it's where the only thing they can do is farm, so they're just going to try to farm as much as they can and make this game weird. As Prada, might be caught, but Gem is out, Frank's running, he'll be fine and going.
Oh, they jump! Solar Guardian's going to come in, though, so they're not going to get this Wukong's kill immediately, and they might not get it at all. Frank is the one who dies. Prada is going to fall as well. The Wukong's command comes out, Leo style. He's getting away for now, but his BKB is starting to run out of time, so he's going to get silenced up. Stunned as well. Secondary stun in. They're just battering away at him. Stormcrafter technically used, but there was absolutely no way it was going to be helpful. And Genic is going to be the only person to really walk out of the fight. Parker did manage to sort of bail while he could, because, again, Psionic Projection is very fair, but that's a lost fight, and a fight that did not have to happen. Infinity really thought that they had sort of caught their opponents out, but ET, I mean, we're 40 minutes in. It has not changed. The Dawnbreaker is still in the lineup. It's just they keep pushing in anyway, thinking that they have the damage before Solar Guardian comes in, and they've been wrong just about every time.
Yeah, just not respecting Illich or overestimating themselves, probably a combination of the two, and, well, now, Infinity, you're gonna get Glyph forced out of you. You got another Glyph for the racks, and this is as far out as Thunder Awaken have been in a long, long time. but Parker's not going to be able to get the split push plays going either. Okay, kick back,
Okay.
reveal. Oh, brutal.
Well, that time they have more than enough damage because the Solar Guardian is not available. They get the highest value kill they could have found as well. That's a godlike streak brought to an end, and that actually plays out pretty much perfectly as Frank is still trying to chase, but the tier 3 tower goes down. So they do get the glyph refreshed, and then they take the fight. So they find the kill, and they have glyph still available to them, and thought for a moment maybe they knew that Alone was farming in here. They are checking now, but it's already too late.
Yeah, just a little bit too far away. Alone's looking to finish off an MKB now. Actually have some damage, and as well as countering out Parker's Butterfly, which he of course has, but now it's the opposite. Infinity says it's our turn. We're going to take your buildings now. We're going to take these outer towers, and this is the first time that Thunder Awaken haven't felt confident to actually defend these buildings. Instead, they say we're the high ground team, and they are the high ground team. Their high ground is terrifying. They have Jakiro, they've got Sniper, they've got Monkey King once he is alive, but enough of an opening for Infinity to really close in. And now, without those outer tier 2s, the split push threat is always going to be present. It's where that TA is now going to be even more obnoxious than she was before. In addition to Parker just continuing to eclipse everybody in net worth. 612 last hits. And we'll have to see, because of course the game is going to get focused around that Roche pit. 52 seconds. It's where everybody kind of has to take a step back and realize what's at stake here. But I think you couldn't ask for a better way for Genic to reveal his Ags. Is just getting the high value target. And now for the rest of the game, until maybe Genic gets a little bit more of that just cast range, he is going to be the new threat that Thunder Awaken always have to find at the beginning of the team fight. It's where even if you get that Solar Guardian out under a target, well, if they get kicked away, well, what are you going to do? I don't know. It's going to get real scary real quick. It's why the smoke and now the break.
Jump onto Michael, quick and easy kill. Already taken down, dual win comes in. Wukong's command, though, does get channeled out, and Frank is caught right in the middle of it. They're going to be able to take him down. Tusk dropping low as well off to the side. He's not dead yet with the Yule Scepter, but as of right now, he's not really the focus. They're trying to just regroup on the Thunder Awaken side, use the Wukong's command as a rallying point, and it's going to work out pretty well. They find 2 kills, but they want more. Trying to get onto Prada with the Nullifier, and well, they hit him with it, but they don't want to chase any further.
No, still very scary. Knight wins the duel as well, but that was trying to go for the big money play there. And if you look at Roche, they're all going back. They know that they need help here. The Ice Path missed, though. They're going to think Parker's stunned, but they have vision, the shrapnel.
Alone is hitting him up quite nicely, but look at Frank. Waiting for his moment. Blink Dagger's back up. He needs the duel as well. 1 second for that. And they have an opportunity. Alone gets into the pit. They're looking for it. Who actually grabs the Aegis? Parker's going to get it. Alone gets taken down. The gem hits the deck. And Thunder Awaken, they've just got to back themselves off right now because their manpower is exceptionally low right now. There's no buyback on the Sniper. There's no buyback on Michael because he used his already. And now we're going to get that high ground defense tested.
High ground defense that is stressing out right now because guess what? Genic found Knight. And okay, again, Dawnbreaker ulti. Is it too fast though? It is, and now, well, a gift has been coming. Illich, I don't know if he's going to be able to walk out. They get vision. He's going to get kicked again. Okay. Look at the base.
They finally managed to out-damage the Solar Guardian just when they needed it most, TT, because, yeah, as you say, the base, it's getting hit up. We finally get to see the strength from this lineup. We talked about in the draft how strong they would be at taking objectives. They've needed 45 minutes, but they're finally in.
And honestly, the game's over. Parker just got a DD run. If they go for tier 4s, they know that there's no racks. If there's no buyback, then this is the game. They're going to call it. There's just no way they can hold now.
Well, Parker realizing, yeah, there's no one here. Let's go for it. Let's take the tier 4s. They get both. Illich is going to do his best, but it feels like it's already too late. The Ancient has been exposed. Illich gets taken down. Parker finds the kill, pushing onto Excel as well. Oh, hold on. Yeah, now they've got the money. The buybacks come through. The Wukong's command is going to be deployed. They try to kick him out of his own ring, but it doesn't work. But the Ancient is still exposed. 3k HP. Parker trying to get in there, hoping to just bring it down, or at least bring down Knight. He's going to be able to do the latter. They get the Monkey King. And that might just be it. Alone has to try and hold, but he's going to get kicked back, forced to pop his BKB, but they are keeping him contained. The Walrus Punch puts him up in the air, and it might just be able to do this. Parker does go down, but that's only his first life. The Aegis is going to get him right back on the front lines, and it's got to be over. Michael's doing some serious work on the back end there, taking down Leo style, but it's not enough. GG called.
Yeah, and we'll get to see some of the numbers there from Parker at the end with the CS, with everything, but just pulled apart. And then at that final Roche fight, just unable to get in there at all with the Monkey King. Just wasn't able to do very much. Didn't have his ring, didn't have his BKB, wasn't on the same page as the rest of the lineup. And then really the one hero that shouldn't have gone in, that being your sniper, who didn't have buyback, who had to wait his entire death timer, goes in. You didn't have buyback immediately on the Monkey King. He had to wait for it to passively come back up, but just ends up being too little, too late. You use your glyph, you lose your heroes. Infinity just get way too big of an influx of gold, of power, and of course that Aegis just allowing Parker to do whatever he wants there, hit the Ancient, hit the Rax, hit whatever, didn't end up mattering. And then really Genic, quietest game on Tusk for the longest time, but ends up being the linchpin that causes the domino effect where Thunder Awaken, they get kicked away, he goes for the big money plays, he finds the sniper, he finds the Monkey King, and then Parker just has, I guess, the net worth to make it all work at the end of the day there. Because really, I feel like that second Roche is the gut-wrenching one where Thunder Awaken, they lose track of it for a second. Parker just kills Roche in 10 seconds. You don't think it's going to be that tight of a window, but because Thunder Awaken lose out on their scouting for a second, Infinity have that surplus to play with. And funnily enough, he loses it not 20 seconds later, but it sets up enough time for the rest of the lineup. And then again, Genic, the kickback, it's what ended up being the beginning of the end there. But hard-fought victory, 45-minute game. I'm still mad Infinity didn't really give us a team fight ever, but, you know, that's maybe what Game 2's for.
Yeah, I mean, they take the roundabout way, but it does work for them, and I did want to sort of scroll over here to take a look at those damage numbers as you were sort of mentioning. 59.8k for the Templar Assassin in hero damage, 10.8k building damage. So, if you're a member of the Infinity lineup right now, maybe you buy Parker dinner. You know, maybe you get him something nice, because he helps pull them out of what was looking like a rather rough situation and helps them get that first win. But BT, the important thing is it's just the first win. We mentioned if a team can 2-0 this series, they will claim that #1 seed. Infinity off to a good start, but they're only halfway there.
Yeah, only halfway there, and halfway there in game one where they were meant to lose. They were 100% meant to lose, especially because up until that point, it was maybe a 40-60 win probability chance, whatever, and then just a great push at the end. But I feel like that's where Thunder Awaken might be a little bit mad, might be a little bit annoyed. They had what felt like an unlosable draft as long as the game just continued, but that's where Infinity, they just had, I think, the stronger mentality. They just didn't break. I think Thunder Awaken just got ahead of themselves, and then they make one mistake, and then suddenly the game's over. It's that a type of situation where I don't think either team is going to draft the same way again, because really, I think everybody's a little bit annoyed after a game like that.
Well, one game left here in the group stage, ET. 3 teams, all hoping to claim the #1 seed, all hoping for different results from this final match. So we'll see what happens, and then we'll see just how much math we have to do at the end of it all. But it is going to be that last game. Game #2 between Thunder Awaken and Infinity will be coming your way in about 10 minutes. So stick around. We'll be back.